everyone, welcome to Bittersweet Theory. Today we are speaking for those who can't. Well, we're talking about them at the very least. We are talking about the unspoken rule of cartoon characters who can speak and who can't. Now this rule is not just for one network, but something in a lot of shows when you stop and think about it. So let's get into it. The first show I want to talk about is Blue's Clues. You have Blue, who is in the show with other animals that can talk. The show is called Blue's Clues, so you would think that the one person that should be able to talk is Blue. The same thing goes for Magenta, who, like Blue, is a puppy that can't speak. The interesting thing is that Rainbow Puppy, who is just like Blue and Magenta, can speak. There are a lot of examples of this happening. Courage from Courage the Cowardly Dog can speak to us, but is not able to speak to any of the other animals or people in the show. Gromit from Wallace and Gromit is another example. Also, Pluto is a dog in the Disney universe that can't speak, but Goofy and Max, who are also dogs, can speak. This whole concept is a little confusing, and I didn't realize it was a thing until I started to let my intrusive thoughts win again. So why is this a thing? Why not let the animals talk? Why are there only a select few that can't speak? Most of them are in universes where animals can talk. At first I thought it was a representation of people who can't speak or are nonverbal in the real world. Then after watching Signs of Affection, I realized that these characters are not even using sign language. We can use Blue and Courage again for examples of this. Blue has come up with her own method of getting her means across, but Magenta doesn't. Also, Courage is only babbling as he's freaking out with other people in the show to get his point across, but that's how he sounds to those characters and not to us. Neither one of them are using sign language or coming up with another method to communicate clearly on a daily basis. For the longest time, I was stumped on what it could be, what this unspoken rule was. What is this unknown factor that decides whether a character is allowed to speak or not? I was watching Disney Three Musketeers and realized that Figaro and Pluto are pets. Then I realized pets in Disney movies can't communicate with other characters. So what this means for all other characters in the show that are not pets, they can talk freely. This rule is consistent in a lot of other shows as well. The thing that I had to factor in was Scooby-Doo. Scooby is a pet, but he has broken sentences. So what made him different? Well, there might be some hope for the characters who can't speak. Throughout the years, Scooby has always been able to speak, even to other pets and people outside of the Mystery Gang. I believe this is because the gang does not see him as a pet, but an actual member of the gang. There is a good chance that if the main characters or characters see the animal as a family member, they will be able to speak. So basically the theory is, if you are considered a family member or a person, you can speak, but if you are a pet, you cannot speak. For support with this theory, I wanted to reference the crossover episode of Family Guy and The Simpsons. One of the side stories going on in Springfield is that Brian gets upset when Marge points out that he is a pet and not a member of their family. We can see a breakdown of this theory happening when Brian is talking to Santa's little helper when he's eating. Santa's little helper doesn't understand him, because in the Simpsons universe, he is considered a pet and not a member of the family, but in the Family Guy universe, Brian is a member of the family and can speak. Later on, while Chris and Brian are taking little Santa's helper on a walk, Brian tries to address him as a person to make Santa's little helper like him, only to have him run away when he takes off the leash. I think this adds another factor to the theory. It would take Marge or someone else in the Simpsons family to recognize Santa's little helper as a person for him to be able to speak like Brian. The main factor of this theory is whether the character is considered a person or a pet. If they are a person, then they have the ability to speak. If they are considered a pet, they don't have the ability to speak. This could explain why Rainbow Puppy in Blue's Clues is the same type of puppy as Blue and Magenta, and she is able to speak because she is no one's pet. She is an independent person. The same thing can be said about Courage. Eustace and Muriel can't understand him because he is still considered a pet and not a person. But there are a lot of other examples that this theory can apply to. In Mulan, Mushu is considered a guardian and can speak. Little Brother is a pet that can't speak. Cricket becomes Mushu's pet, so therefore he cannot speak. Garfield is another example. Garfield is a person in John's house like Brian is in Family Guy. Odie is still considered a pet, and that is why he cannot speak. I could go on and on for days for how many shows that this can actually apply to. So I know this is a crazy theory, but I think it's one that works in many different universes. Let me know if I need to do a deep dive into different shows, or that would be something you guys would like to see, hear about. Please let me know what you think down in the comments. I wanted to take a moment to say something, even if you don't agree with the theories. I am thankful for those in the comment being respectful. I do appreciate that so much. It warms my heart. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please do. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And until next time, it's been bittersweet.